right, okay, so hello guys. Okay, so visa to South Africa. South Africa is a nice place, it's the south of Africa, and it's one of the coolest places to visit. One of the coolest places you should visit. All right, so what do you have to do if you want to get the South African visa? Strange enough, it's a very easy one to get, and this is the only and the first visa application I've done where I didn't have to do copies of all the stamps and visas in my passport. Yeah, note, they do not require stamps or copies of your stamps and your visas, only your passport. So that's very important. They made it very, very easy. All right, so the documents you have to provide, just a passport and then a copy of your biodata page, that's the part with all your information. And they need 2 copies of it, one for your file and then one for payment purposes at the visa application center. And so your passport must contain at least 3 empty pages, which is very important. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be 6 months before expiry. It just has to be some few, about 30 to 40 days and some short time after the end of your trip. So if you have a passport that's expiring in 6 months, you don't have to worry, you still can apply for South Africa as long as your trip is not after 6 months or on the 5th month. That's very important. And the visa fee was very, very low. As of now, I'm making the video in Ghana cedis, so about 136 Ghana cedis, and the VFS service charges was about 450 cedis. So there's a visa application form that you have to download. Once you download, you fill it. Note, you have to fill it in black pen and in caps. You have to fill it in block letters, big caps, all the questions and everything, and in black letter, in black, yeah. All right, so if you're working, you need an introductory letter. So I added an introductory letter from the place I work that states what you do, how long you've been working, leave days, and any other kind of things. It's standard. And then this is also the first application where I had to provide the international yellow fever vaccination. So I provided a copy of my yellow fever vaccination, my wife and I. And you also have to bring the original for the agent to compare. But usually they don't look, as long as you have a photocopy, and it's fine. That's it. So you pick a copy of the front page where there's your name mentioned, and the one concerning the yellow, the one with the vaccination, the one with the yellow fever. So that's all I did. I didn't make copies of other vaccines, just the one with the yellow fever and then the front one. And then I made a flight itinerary. I made a video on how to get the flight itinerary. I would also put the link down there, so in case you don't know how to get a free flight itinerary for visa application, you can refer to that video. And so you need proof of accommodation in South Africa. If you're visiting like me, you go to booking.com and then you book a hotel in the place where you want to visit. And if you have a friend there or somebody there, or you're staying with somebody, you need utility bills, water bills, electricity bills, rates, or anything that shows the person has an agreement to lease accommodation, anything that shows that the person has somewhere for you. And that's the most important thing. And then you need a signed invitation letter. In my case, there was not, because I'm going for holidays. And so you need a certified host passport. So the passport copy has to be certified original. That's, you take it somewhere where you compare it to the original one, and then they stamp it for you. I didn't have a host, so I didn't have to do that. And the additional thing is that if you are traveling with a minor, or the application is also coming with a minor, then all you have to do is also have there's a form that they added. You have to download the form, and then you have to provide a notarization letter and a consent letter by both parents. It doesn't matter. It has to be both parents all together, and it has to be attached to the application. And so there's a form that's by the South African Home Affairs. It's a parent consent affidavit. So you download it, and then you fill it and add it. Okay, they didn't ask for our birth certificate, but if you want, you can add it. It depends. And then you add proof of financials. So I added, for example, 3 months original bank statement for about my 4 different accounts. And then you need a letter of sponsorship. That's very important. I was traveling with my wife, so I made a letter for my wife. So I provided a sponsorship letter for my wife. Then they asked me to provide an introduction letter for my wife. So a letter written by my wife and signed by her, where she introduces herself, the work she does, and that she says that she's traveling with me. And then so she would adhere to all the rules and regulations in South Africa, and so she's ready to do whatever is required. And so this is her application, something of that sort. All right, so if you need a copy or something, just hit me in the comment section and I'll make it available for you. Any questions or anything you need. And then I provided a bank statement, like I said, for 3 months, and then also pay slip for 3 months. So I provided 3 months pay slip, and then that was it. But then if you have a friend who is traveling, who is doing everything for you, then you need a written financial undertaking by your host in South Africa that is going to take care of this and that, and then you had copies of his statement and everything. And please note, anytime you add a document from somebody sponsoring you or contributing towards your trip, they will need a copy of the biodata of that person. Okay, so in my case, for example, because I was sponsoring the trip with my wife, I made an additional copy of my biodata page, and then they added it to her application. Note, it's very, very important. Okay, so that's it. And then the bank statements have to be certified. You can't bring them on. It has to be stamped and signed. And they do take digital certified ones, but then it has to be certified. All right, so for corporate clients and organization, they have some few things that changes, but everything is on their website. For VFS, for example, because it's handled by VFS for West Africa. In Ghana, it's handled by VFS. So you see them, and then you have all you need. So like I said, when it came to application, we provided a visa feed, we filled the visa form, we added 2 passport pictures, we had our marriage certificate and the copy so that the agent could compare. But he returned the certificate for us, and my wife didn't have to add the certificate or a copy to her file. Only that was needed for me, and then she added a copy to her file. And also note one thing, they need 2 copies of your biodata. 1 copy for your application, 1 copy for payments. You use 1 copy to do payment for the visa fee and the service charge. They did not need my wife's gazetted change of name as a married woman. So note, you don't need original copies of the gazetted documentation that you do for your change of name. So but they took the pay slips, they took I added banks and everything. Also note, I added a pension statement for my pension and my social security. They did not need it. It was not required. No need for a statement from your social security. So I had a letter from my office, I had a letter for myself saying I was supporting my wife, and my wife had a letter introducing herself. And then I had my booking, my travel itinerary, my yellow fever card, and that was it. We were given an application reference number, and we used that reference to track the application. And we also wantingly freely or not web charge for the SMS. So we constantly received SMS of when there's a change in our application. For example, we had the first one that said that your application has been taken to the South African High Commission and is under process. So you get text message. So that's it. So remember, because of sponsorship, I had to provide 3 biodata pages copies. Okay, and there is a business center in most of the VFS, or you can do it there in case you don't have it. And so it was a nice experience. The gentleman was really nice to us. We're early. You don't need to be very early, not too early, just about 30 to 45. We had the first appointment in the day, so there was no need going too early because it was not open until it was time. And when it was time, we went through reception, security, wrote our names, and then they checked the application, and then we went through with the first person he served, and it was really fine. And like I said in the beginning of the video, you do not need photocopy of travel visas. I repeat again, you do not need photocopy of travel visas. It is not required. It is not important. Okay. All right. So there was a short queue outside before we got into the building, but then that was it. Once we had done through security and all that, we were called a bit slow but surely, and the guy loved the fact that we had arranged everything accordingly. So arrange your things accordingly. So when he requests for them, then I remove them. He requests for them, I remove them. My wife had a separate file and I had a separate file, and it was nice. All right, so that's it. And then when it came to the amount paid, because we knew the amount to pay, we had the exact balance, and so it was easy. Because we were the first customer, they had some time with some challenges, getting the cashier's machine up to speed and getting it to work, but it didn't take so long. After that, it was done. And like I said, we had to provide an introductory letter, so I had to sit down and then get my device and then type 1 and then go print it. And then that were the challenges, because there's a lot of other people printing other things, so it takes a long while. It could take you about 20 to 30 minutes to get that printed, signed, and then returned to your file and added up. And when you do that, then you can pay and then submit your application and then sign on your copy so that when you come back, you can use that copy. All right, so when you track your application and it's then ready, you just go to the visa center, provide a copy of the documents you have provided, and then you receive your passport, and then you can check. And then I wish you all the best for your visa. All right, so until then, ciao. Along with your receipt to receive your passport back. So guys, that's it for application for South Africa visa from Ghana, West Africa. And if there's any difference, then it is from where you're applying from. If you have any question, you have any comment, put them in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer you and to help you. If you have any suggestion for any video or anything else, just let me know and then I would do that for you. Okay, so until then, see you later. Bye.